Welcome to Guelph Fight Wrestle Hut. I am Andrew Sennedra, and this is the Big Time Shit Disturber, Captain Witchfingers, and today we're going to be talking about AEW's Revolution 2023. And since we usually actually we always talked about the card from when it started. I noticed everybody else talks about the card starting from like the main event and working their way, towards the beginning of the show. So we decided that's probably what we should do. So we're going to talk about, the main event, MJF versus Bryan Danielson, and what are your thoughts on it? Oh, apparently nothing. He wrote nothing. It's just the same way. Yeah, he's closing up. He's got nothing to say about this, and neither do I, because we weren't really invested in this. When I knew that this was going to be the main event, I wasn't really interested in it, so we took no thoughts on it. And people might dislike that that's the way we think about these two individuals, but we weren't into it. We got about 17 minutes into it, and I felt like fucking Napoleon Dynamite trying to go back in time. Yeah, so about 17 minutes into it, I was just like, I'm giving up on this. This 17 minutes, I already thought it when I saw that it was 43 minutes left in the match. I actually already thought it was like halfway through. I was like, I'm not fucking sitting through another 43 minutes of this. Like, it was already, I don't know what time it was that night, and I was just kind of like, fuck this.
It was a hard match. This guy tapped out. He couldn't take it.
I don't fucking tap out usually.
He's like, I give up.
Yeah, like normally I don't, but I was just like, yeah, I can't do this. Like MJF might hate on people for that they don't like his style, and I was like, it's not my thing, and deal with it. Not everybody's gonna like what you listen to, as I write as a musician, and you deal with it. So move the fuck on. People don't like it. Stop fucking looking on the damn internet and see what people do. Keep, doing what you want to do then. So, anyways, fuck that. We're moving on to the next one, which is the big tag team, I guess, four-way between, we got the Guns, we got the Acclaimed, we got Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, and then the surprise team kind of out of nowhere, Danhausen and Orange Cassidy. Overall, I thought it was a decent match. Definitely some good moving parts. The Acclaim didn't get too much action in it, but I thought the highlight of it was sort of like Satnam Singh's big voice coming from the corner. I kept doing his voice in the corner. It's like, oh, I thought that was kind of humorous. I kept making those voices during the match. The one thing I actually thought was kind of why I told you that is good is like Austin Gunn keeps the match fast. He's just so fast. He sells things so well. Like, he keeps it entertaining, even though, like, he's not, like, high-flying, high-energy or big-time maneuvers, luchador stuff, but he keeps the match fast, and that's, I think, what we were talking about, is, like, we like the pace to be good. We don't need it to be, like, 13 headlocks, a few hammer locks, some wrist locks for, like, 15 or 20 minutes, and the slow, worse than Funeral Doom pace where, like, nothing happens. So it's we want wrestlers to sort of move a little bit.
That's funny that you mentioned like Austin going faster. And it's funny because like his inspiration is Shawn Michaels, and we know Shawn Michaels loved those headlocks.
Well, he loves the headlocks, but Shawn Michaels was also a faster paced wrestler too. Maybe he was told to slow it down for that WrestleMania match. He's like headlocked the shit out of that guy. But overall, I thought it was at least a decent match, and maybe it could have been a little better. But.
Yeah, I like the comedy aspect with Orange Cassidy as always. Yeah. He's like doing the slow struts. He's messing around and whatnot. So like that's always good for good laughter.
Now we're moving on to the TNT title match. We got Samoa Joe versus Wardlow. Honestly, I expected more because, like, I've seen these two individuals do a lot more. So that match, yeah, it was sort of weird for me. Watching it, I was, like, kind of expecting a bit more, like, awesome stuff out of that match, especially for a pay-per-view. So I was sort of taken back by that a little bit. So were there any, like, moments of this match that were, like, good highlights for you that stuck out?
One was like when Joe was in that corner and then Wardlow's coming in and he kind of catches him with that one arm and then slams him down.
Yeah, that's
like,
sort of...
That's like 280 pounds of like, muscle kind of thing. Yeah?
Big Samoa Joe throwing people. He can throw around the best of them.
Yeah, and that finish kind of surprised me because, you're waiting for that powerbomb symphony. I'm like, can he power bomb the, the 300 mass ball that's Joe, right?
The mass ball, the big round guy.
But then they changed it up and did a submission. I'm like, oh,
yeah, it's Samoa Joe's submission. It didn't look like it was in quite good. He's like, this guy's head's too big. I can't get around Big Joe's head. Now we're moving on to the Texas Death match between Hangman Adam Page and Jon Moxley. And I think when we came into this match, we kind of knew what was going to happen. We're pretty accustomed to what Moxley's hardcore or death matches sort of have. The bricks were new. They were pretty, violent and used in a good way to sort of amplify the matchup. And same with the chain. So there are definitely some new twists that they were able to add into that match to sort of, separate it from other matches that both of them have had in the past.
But these like death matches, what I find funny is like a lot of times like people will use. They're not very smart with how they use the stuff.
The barbed wire.
Yeah, so they use like the Hangman used the barbed wire, wrap it around himself to do like the moonsault. But in the end, he did more damage to himself than his opponent. So I was like, what are these guys doing?
It would have been better if he maybe like had a chair or something that he's flipping off. That would have hurt too. But
yeah, right.
There were some pretty, good highlights to the match and good points. Like, use of the bricks, I think, is sort of a highlight, a good story part. The use of the chain for the ending to really, of course, Mox has to tap out to that. You're like, oh, fucking chain. But you had a couple of highlights that you wanted to mention that you thought stuck out in the match as well.
Yeah, like you said with the bricks, like he's like crushing his hands on the layers. He's like stomping. I'm like, oh man, that hurt. I know, like for hard guys like this guy, it doesn't hurt anything, but
well, I had that happen to my hand, sort of, right?
and then how Mox got pushed into like that barbed wire table. I'm like, oh man.
Well, and Hangman went on to the other table that he almost like sort of missed. Like, that was a close call over there as well. Now we're moving on to the Elite, or the Trios titles. We got the Elite versus the House of Black, which for us, we knew this was going to be the highlighted pay-per-view. There was so much into this match. It was so awesome. Very exciting. I liked the rapport in the ring between Kenny Omega and Malachi. They had so many wicked moments. Not just like in the match, like wrestling wise, but just like, focused on each other sort of thing. Like not checking each other out, but like, playing mind games a little bit, especially Malachi. So there was a lot of, intensity there. Brody King, I thought I thought he was like the big difference maker in the match. For size and all the things that he did. I think he like really stood out in that match. So much of what he did, all the stuff that he performed in the match, the dives, cannonballs, the power moves, just so many of the things that he was able to bring to the table. Buddy Matthews and Kenny going like toe to toe with some vicious stuff. His powerful kicks and a lot of he did the Meteora that I think it was Nick that pushed Matt out of the way and like ate fucking Buddy Matthews' knees to the face. So there was a lot of like hard-hitting and exciting moments. The match was definitely high-paced, kept a good pace, was very exciting, on the edge of your seat sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think this is probably our favorite match of the pay-per-view. Yeah, like the whole Malachi and Omega, they're kind of toying with each other. How, like, early on, they almost got their finishers on each other. They're like, I got that close, almost had you kind of thing, right?
I like how Julia Hart played into it just a little. Like for the whole match, she like didn't play into it, so you thought like maybe she would have played into it a little bit more. But it wasn't until like the end, and then like Kenny Omega flatlines with the V trigger, and then the whole match sort of goes south through the Elite after that point.
Yeah, and then they ate that spin kick. Like, oh man, I got finished because of you, woman.
Yeah, there was some just really like really well done stuff between those guys. They do know Malachi from years and years ago in PWG and stuff like that. So there is a good rapport in the ring with a lot of these individuals, but it was just like, just really well done. A lot of the sequences, a lot of the moves, and it was just really fun, exciting match on the edge of the seat. And I'm glad that the House of Black won. I think this has been long overdue to win, but I think like beating the Elite was really, a good team to win against, because like it was just such a memorable match. So like their first title reign will come off such a powerful, well done match.
Yeah, I'm also glad that the House of Black went on. Like they're this cool dark team, running around. And I think maybe they won because like Malachi like summoned his Tony Jaw. He's like give people elbows.
Oh yeah.
Top people's heads, and they're like, oh, you know, their cranes were getting crushed.
I love those elbows like he does, the Tony Jaw elbows from Ong back. Those are awesome. He has such a cool moveset though, such a unique one.
Muay Thai.
Yeah. And just how well it works against like someone like Kenny, because like he doesn't bring a lot of that stuff out that he used to do, but he brought it out in the match, like or against Malachi, some of that old New Japan stuff and DDT stuff they used to do with Kota Ibushi. So that's cool that he was like, okay, I'm gonna bring out some of my old weapons to facilitate his. So it sort of, you know, it makes the match even more memorable. And then next up we got the evil match, the Jungle Boy Jack Perry versus Christian. I think this one easily I was looking forward to because I liked the storyline. It was one that you were actually invested in. At least I was. Everything else didn't. Well, some of them did have storylines and stuff, but I wasn't just invested in them. I thought this one was really good. Christian did a good job building it when he came back, and it turned Jungle Boy into another, sort of push him into another direction that sort of helps elevate him. And this was a really good conclusion, I thought, to their rivalry. I think it was really well done, and I liked the whole, everything at the end, the whole twist. That Jungle Boy's like, okay, you say I can't do this, well now I'm going to do this, and he squishes his head with the chairs, and then off into the coffin he goes. But yeah, it was a really pretty well done match, especially like we said about talking about like older wrestlers, you know, and slower pace. But Christian seems to have a pretty good pace, what he's able to do. Like he doesn't seem like he's some slow, lethargic older wrestler. So he was able to sort of hold his ground and do that well with Jungle Boy.
Yeah, like when Christian joined, like I was kind of iffy about him, like I don't care about this old man kind of thing, but then like I liked him, I think, better as a villain kind of thing.
Yeah, he's done better. Yeah.
Yeah, where he's got like this deep villainy, like he says stuff to make you hate him, but you don't hate him like you want to change the channel kind of thing, but you're like, oh man, this guy like plays a good villain, and he's like talking about like taboo stuff like that, like his dead father. I'm like, man, Jungle Boy's gonna be so pissed, he's gonna kill this guy.
He's got some really intense stuff, but like you said, he doesn't get you to change the channel because it's not every week that he throws out a 20-minute fucking monologue, right? So it's antagonistic, but it also lends to sort of amp up Jungle Boy's more intensity and switch him into another gear and boost him into another stratosphere, I think, for them. Now we're going to see like an intense side to him that maybe can challenge the bigger guys and move himself forward. And
yeah, this was like a violent match with like the belt. He's like whipping him.
Oh yeah.
And he's like trying to take his head off with a shovel. I'm like, man, these guys hate each other. Yeah. Trying to kill each other.
Now we're gonna end up on the first match of the card. The opener was Ricky Starks versus Chris Jericho. This one, again, I thought I was expecting a little more because, like, I see a lot more of what Sparks. I want to see more Sparks from Starks in this match, but you know, it wasn't quite as much. There was a few highlights, but it wasn't like overly groundbreaking or you know, memorable for me. I think coming into this one, I thought there was going to be more.
Yeah, it was a good match, but I feel like with like Starks and Jericho's caliber, they could have elevated like higher. Kind of
like, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, so like a few things I thought was really cool was like the spear into the code breaker. That was kind of neat.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're like, what happened? Like I thought he speared him, but then you know the guy's like dying. I'm like, oh okay.
Yeah, nice counter there for a spear. Yeah, there was one thing in your notes that we were talking about is like how Action Andretti, like, you know, comes in or stops Sammy Guevara in the match, right? So it's sort of like in this pay-per-view, even though Starks and Jericho are finished, it sort of creates an avenue for Action Andretti to have his own storyline within that, within the ending of that match, right? So it's kind of cool that like, hey, we're ending a rivalry, but we're starting another one at the same time for Action Andretti and Sammy Guevara. So that's kind of cool that they're able to sort of continue the story to a degree and a good sort of transition, a good segue into another one. So I'm like, oh, that's cool story writing.
Yeah, and I like those two matchups because those two can elevate to each other's level kind of thing. Like they both can be flashy kind of thing, and they can like, so you're not fighting a slow guy and then you're like really flashy. So then it's like people stylistically.
Like what I said about Sammy and MJF, that was such a great match. I'm like, you mean Sammy had a great match, right? Like, but actually Andretti, you're gonna get the same caliber guy as Sammy. Yeah. So Yeah, exactly. I know what you mean there. But overall, like there was one great match. We both thought. I think we had different opinions on a couple of matches. I thought the tag team match was solid, and I liked Jungle Boy and Christian. I think that one was pretty good. But overall, like we were talking about our ranking systems or our grading systems and how it's good, great, awesome, amazing, spectacular, and fantastique. Except I don't think we were gonna get up to good.
Yeah, it's like on par. Is it good? Is it like
decent?
You know, is it under good?
Like we never thought that there would be one below good, but I think we're stumped. I think Revolution was highly praised. What I saw afterwards, people were praising it. Oh, it was one of the best pay-per-views they ever did. And to us, it's like the complete opposite. We're sitting there like, was this even good? Like House of Black versus Elite was really great, but did that come like some of the matches that we thought could have been better?
Yeah, it's like that was one match, right? Like,
but like they said, there was less matches on this because of the Iron Man match, because it was going to be an hour. So you lost matches because that one was going to be longer.
Yeah.
This pay-per-view could have been better if there was one or two other matches on there to elevate it, right? But that took up so much time. So I'm like, that killed it.
Yeah.
MJF and fucking Daniel Danielson killed it with their damn hour-long fucking, so I don't know. I'm going to say, like, it's below good. That's the first time I think we're below good.
Yeah, I think I'm going to agree under good.
It's never happened. We've been following AEW since its inception, like right in the fucking very beginning, and I don't think I saw this coming, but it did. So what are your thoughts on Revolution? Do you agree with us? Do you think it was overrated? Do you think we don't know what we're talking about and it was great and fantastique? Well, let us know down in the comments. We don't care if you like or dislike the video and you got to shit on us. Go ahead. We don't care. We'll just clap and send you running. Until next time, folks, how about some heavy wrestling?